In a world of glitz and glam, flashing lights and screaming fans, most people are unaware of the war that rages behind the scenes. And that war includes your favorite artist and your favorite songs. This is The Dark Side of Songwriting. Hosted by Nayim Edwards.
The Dark Side of Songwriting. My name is Nayim Edwards. I am your host, and today Jay-Z in the NFL versus New Orleans, and everybody having these adverse reactions to Kendrick Lamar being the headliner of this next Super Bowl. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of what we'll be discussing today, which is Jay-Z's real problem is with Jay Prince. I don't understand how people don't see it. I don't understand how y'all have not connected the dots with this. That's neither here nor there at this point. We'll talk about that in a second. This is the perfect time to remind y'all that this is the music business. It's not the friendship business. It's not the loyalty business. It's not friendship and loyalty. It's not music business. The NFL does not care about subsets of a culture when the NFL is basically organizations and corporations all in one conglomerate that are licenses to print money. They're going to go do business with the person that they think can do the best business for their conglomerate. It is flat, point blank, period. All these people out here with these emotional reactions, Birdman and Master P and Boosie and Cam and Mace, and put anybody else on the list, the managers of Lil Wayne and all this stuff, that only matters to those of us in this culture. Because where was everybody at trying to get Wayne on the Super Bowl when New Orleans had their Super Bowl back in like 2013 or whatever, 2002 or whatever? There's a lot of problems with how people are just so quick to jump out here and flabber off and go off at the mouth without having an understanding of what is even in front of them. And the reason that I'm saying this before we get into what I have to say, in depth with that, is because all these people pretty much existed at the same time. If you wanted to be some type of ambassador for what goes on from where you from, or what goes on in places that you feel like should be protected places when it comes to this culture, you have every opportunity to do the same thing that Jay-Z did. Whether you disagree with it or agree with what Jay-Z is or what he is or what he does or not, all these people existed at the same time. Master P existed, Birdman existed, even somebody like Boosie existed. All these people existed at the same time that Jay-Z existed. So my thing is, if you wanted to have a say and you wanted to go and try to dictate what happens in organizations that you don't have nothing to do with because you picked your lane and you decided that there was something more important than gatekeeping who can and who can't come to wherever you from or wherever you are, you need to go ahead and go to your bathroom and look in the mirror and maybe cut the water on and put some soap in your hand and rub that clown paint off your face, because you had the same opportunities that Jay-Z had to be that kind of ambassador. The NFL don't care nothing about who's from where and who's this and who's that. They're looking at numbers and analytics because people are spending $7 million for 30 seconds of time to sell chips. It's not personal. That part of this situation has nothing to do with the personal, and that's just the business side, because it does get personal when we talk about why Jay-Z does the things that he does in regards to how he moves with everybody really, but like specifically with that Young Money and anything that's got to do with Jay Prince. But they just care about the numbers. They want whoever can be as family. Well, it doesn't really have to be family friendly, but like all they care about is how we can get the most people, what people are going to enjoy, what's going on and what's trending for the year and what's happening and who's doing what. That's all that they care about. It didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered who you placed in the spot. Also, the last two things is people don't get paid to perform at the Super Bowl. When you go to the Super Bowl, You do it for free, and everything that you got going on just skyrockets to the moon because now you're being introduced to everybody. The second thing is, headliner does not mean only person performing. Like, I don't understand y'all, bro. Like, headliner just means the main act. We don't know, and this is why I'm not a proponent for just shooting off at the mouth as soon as something happened, because we don't know who Kendrick was going to bring with him. We don't know. He could have paid homage, and he doesn't have a history of disrespecting people and disrespecting cultures. He would have more than likely paid homage to the people that was out there, and now because everybody done shot off at the mouth, Birdman calling people names, Masterpiece saying what's right and what's wrong. You don't know what this person or this situation had planned. They could have easily bought y'all out. He could have easily, it wasn't, the situation is not finalized yet. That's why I don't like people, even somebody like Boosie, like, it doesn't even make sense to get all in your feelings about it before you know the full truth of what's going on. That's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Jay-Z having a real problem with Jay Prince. Now, this problem goes all the way back to, I feel like I saw something somewhere where Jay Prince was in New York at one point in time, and something was said between camps or something, but I couldn't find that. But what I did find was when Jay-Z came to Houston a long time ago, before him and Jay Prince even ran into each other and met, and Jay-Z didn't check in, and Jay Prince took that as offensive, because if you are a part of this culture or know anything about this culture in general, that is Jay Prince's whole thing is respect. And we will be, I got 3 things from this book, a couple things actually, maybe 3 or 4 things from his book, The Art and Science of Respect, and I have some pictures marked off because it's all going to be full circle by the time we get to the end of this. You know that Jay Prince's whole thing is being respectful, coming here and showing love. You're not going to come and take from the economy. You're going to come and work with artists. You're going to come and show love. You're going to come and let us know what's going on. Otherwise, we're going to extort you. It's going to be a bad time for you. If you don't get down, you lay down. For lack of trying to make it sound like it's something that is, something else. That's just what it is with this guy. So if you know anything about Jay-Z, you know anything about New York, you know how New York people are, bro. It's not no going and telling no New York person what they is and what they not gonna do. They're very macho. They're very, very hard hitting in their actions. And Jay-Z has been around for such a long time. He was in this business. He is Biggie's protege, if people don't remember what this was. So Jay-Z comes up under that Bad Boy and the Def Jams and all the beginning of when New York started to take the mainstream, when you had to go to New York to figure out your life. Way before the South got their foot in the door. This is when, he was a very huge regional situation before he became a superstar. He had to come down to Virginia to become a superstar. Had to go link up with, Timbaland and Pharrell and them, and that's where all his biggest hits and stuff came out of Virginia. So he had to come down to the South, and then he had to go down to Texas for Big Pimpin'. This is when he became like this international situation, not just being regional in New York, not just being in the US. When Big Pimpin' came out and he had to go down to the South and get Timbaland from where I'm from, Norfolk, and then he had to go down and get Bun B and Pimp C, UGK, to become what he is. That's why it's silly to say he hates the South. He needed the South to become what he is. You know that with these New York people, they're not gonna just go for anything. It's like that in a lot of these hotbeds and these hot pockets in the United States: California, Texas, New Orleans, Florida, North Carolina. It's a lot of these places. Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey. People just not going to just go for any old thing. So, to my knowledge and to what I firmly believe, based on everything else we're about to say, Jay-Z never let that go, and he took that personal. Because what Jay Prince said was they ended up running into each other and having a little conversation after that, and they was cool. It's always been this, thing where I feel like Jay Prince's side was able to kind of let stuff go until Jay-Z really started digging his heels into everybody and everything, because we got to think about the situations that have surrounded Jay-Z and Jay Prince, where Jay-Z and Jay Prince are the common denominator. The first thing is, in regards to, so let's put this on the table. There's a quote on the back of this book, and this is a Jay-Z quote, and it says, a lot of times in the music business, you see people and y'all BS each other. But when you do business with Jay Prince, you're held at your word. If he tells you something, he's going to do it, which is refreshing. That's what Jay-Z directly said. This could have been before the whole coming to Houston and checking in. Now, what are the things where Jay-Z and Jay Prince are the common denominator? Go all the way back to when Jay Prince, what was the other guy? Irv Gotti and Suge Knight, they wanted to form this whole music union thing where we're going to start with hip hop, but we're going to get all the genres together, and we're going to start including money to put up for your pension. So when your music career, is over, you'll have like a retirement check, and you'll be able to live off of your pension and stuff. And we're going to have rights, and we're going to protect your music, and we're going to do everything basically that a union would do when it comes to this music business. And that's how, a lot of the stuff started popping off for Jay Prince, Suge Knight, and Irv Gotti in the first place. And I say popping off in a bad way. They was saying, oh, are you going to be able to get Jay-Z? Because Jay-Z was scorching hot. And this was like the 90s. Are you going to be able to get Jay-Z? Are you going to get Jay-Z? And Irv Gotti was like, well, he ain't going to have no choice. Remember, Irv Gotti is from New York as well. That's how they are up there. They're very, very stern, very cutthroat, very shrewd and sharp about the stuff that they do and they mean. Jay-Z, coming from the situations that he came from, being in a situation where he didn't own at the time, he didn't own, the blueprint or none of this first stuff, and he was coming up under, and Jay-Z prioritized being in the business and being in, learning everything he can, because he always had this domination thing. Jay-Z is not a person that's going to share power with you. It's not happening. He's going to be on top, and he's going to get everything that he can for himself. He is really what y'all think Nancy Pelosi is, because he has prioritized the business and the relationships over everything else. He's the person that got Beyonce to fire her dad, because he came into her life as her boyfriend and was like, let's go ahead and audit these people and see what's really going on. So, excuse me. So, that was the first thing. We're going to force Jay-Z. We knew, you know anything about Jay, he's not going for that. It never came to be, because feds and stuff start cracking down. You move a little bit further down the line, and this might be something that you might not have thought about or considered, but once Jay-Z came to Virginia and he started linking with the Neptunes, and he started linking with Timberland, and he started linking with all of our people down here, those are the people that gave him his super mega hits. Now, when we talk about how that even correlates with Jay Prince, do you remember the song What Happened to That Boy? Now, in that song What Happened to That Boy, they said that the Neptunes never got paid from Birdman. What does that have to do with Jay Prince? We know that Birdman and Jay Prince, let me see, I don't know if you can see this. Birdman and Jay Prince, it's a picture. They've always had a relationship because of who Jay Prince is in the South and what Jay Prince meant to independent artists and independent labels. Like, he was people call him the boogeyman, but he really was the pinnacle of what it was supposed to be. And how a lot of people, including Master P, including Birdman, the most two powerful ones out of that section, excuse me, and that the relationship that the South has with Texas, in particular Alabama and Louisiana have with Texas, because of what the relationship that Jay-Z had with Timbaland and Pharrell and Chad of the Neptunes, he did not take kindly to Pusha T and the Clips and the Neptunes not getting their money for what happened to their boy. And that was not no little itty bitty song. That was a hit record. Especially for that time, you couldn't turn on nothing without seeing that damn song on TV. So that's their personal common denominator with that. We got another picture here with Wayne and Jay Prince. I'm going to put this book down. We'll close it. So it's one more thing in here when we get to talk about Drake. But Jay-Z doesn't like when people do bad business. It's one of the things you can tell that bad business disgusts him. Everybody that ever had a problem with Jay-Z had a problem because, we're talking about business-wise, had a problem because it didn't work out in their favor. Nobody ever said, oh, Jay-Z, I don't recall anybody saying, Jay-Z robbed me or whatever. You had a choice and we went with what we wanted to do with us. You did your thing. Dame Dash wanted to be free, so we freed him. You want to do your own thing? You go do your own thing, but I'm going to go do my own thing over here, and I'm going to master doing business. That was one of the first events, and the Neptunes said, we'll never work with Cash Money again. We don't care. We'll never give them nothing again. It's whatever. So, common denominator there. You skip ahead a little bit. This is how Nicki Minaj kind of comes in, and I have a whole video explaining the proxy war with Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z. It's because Nicki Minaj wanted to be under Jay-Z, but Jay-Z didn't take her. I'm not going to go too deep into that because we have a whole video explaining that whole situation. You can go look it up on the channel. I think proxy war is in the name. After you realize, and that's why she's out here giving backlash, it ain't got nothing to do with whatever she was talking about in her tweet. It was just, she's still hurt by Jay-Z not taking her because Birdman has that relationship with Jay Prince. That's why she would be connected to it. Moving right along, was it Jay Prince Jr. or Jazz Prince or whichever one of his children discovered Drake? In this book, he specifically, and I'm talking about Jay Prince, specifically talks about how he didn't have no respect for Jay-Z for trying to steal Drake from him. But because Drake, decided that he wanted to stay with Wayne and Cash Money and stuff like that, Jay-Z kind of just let it go. It's in here. I don't forgot what page it was, but it's in the book. Go read the book if you need the proof. It's in the book. So he's explaining how Jay-Z tried to take Drake from me or whatever. And why is that significant and why is that important? Because people like to say that, oh, all these people are competition. And yes, it is viewed as competition. All these people will be competition, but you got to understand, you could be musical competition if you want to. You can sell as more records than me, but if I do better business than you, I'm going to win every time and I'm going to keep winning. You move down the line, what's the next thing that happens? I'm just going off the top of the head. I should have wrote all these down. You move down the line, you get, I think the Meg Thee Stallion thing was the next thing to come. Like, I'm just going off super major events. I'm sure there's things that happened in the middle of there. Well, wait, before the Meg Thee Stallion thing, you got the Wayne versus Jay-Z Cold War. You got the Drake versus Jay-Z Cold War. People just traded lines back and forth. You got the Birdman and Wayne dissing Jay-Z and all of these things. And then Jay-Z comes out the woodwork and helps Wayne with all his problems because Birdman basically fucked Wayne over. Tried to get him killed. Did all these crazy ass things to him. Now, you might not say that has any relation to do with Jay Prince, but it's still Birdman connected to Jay Prince because of Wayne and Drake and his relationship with Birdman. So it's still all of them connected to him. And people think because people have feuds and people have war that you can't do something that is seen or deemed as favorable because it's conflict. You don't know what conflict is. Jay-Z, you're talking about you playing 4D chess against a person that's playing Call of Duty. It's not even the same game. It's not even the same level of any type of game. Then you move on to the Meg Thee Stallion and how Carl Crawford basically was the mentee directly connected and signed with Jay Prince, and how Jay-Z used Beyonce to take that artist away from him. All this stuff is stemming back from you think you gonna play with me, you think you gonna disrespect me, you think that I'm going for any little old thing and I'm gonna show you every chance you get, every turn that happens, I'm going to make your life a living hell with anything you got to do with business. You could throw Almighty J in there if you want to, even though I just think that was something random and stupid. You know, his artists going to New York and getting their faces cut up and all type of stuff. People like Sauce Walker having such a regard for Jay-Z when you're the Jay-Z of where you are. Like, you move on to the Tory Lanez situation. That's just happened to you connected to my artist. Y'all are camping and cheering. You know, Carl Crawford being connected. This all roads lead back to Jay Prince and this whole you think you gonna little boy me, I got something for you. Because yeah, you was the king, you the king where you are, but I'm the king everywhere. You're like the mayor. You might even be the governor, but I am the president. So it's like business has turned into I'm going to take as many personal jabs at you as I can, and there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to stop me. This is why what people say don't matter, because this is how Jay-Z is. Just the things that I was able to rattle off the top of my head. Think about every single one of those situations and how it all goes back to Jay Prince and Jay-Z having an issue with each other. They're probably never going to come out and, say it. Why it was no benefit in coming out and just being like, yeah, he thought he was gonna little boy me and I wasn't going for it. This is not a hard thing to connect because it happens all the time. We tell y'all all the time over here that this is the business of relationship. Yes, it's music business, but relationship is what's going to carry you through when you need help. Relationship is what's going to carry you through when you need, or you trying to get to the next thing, or you trying to get to the next step, or you need resources, or you need to go somewhere, or you need to do something. It's the relationship. And yeah, if I come to where you are and we come and do stuff where you are, I gotta abide by your rules, but your rules only apply in your jurisdiction. If I build myself up to even being able to be in charge of a multi-trillion-dollar event, how much do you think you matter when I'm in charge of everything else and you're only in charge of what you can hold in your hand? People aren't thinking about it. This is how business go. You piss the wrong person off in this industry, it'll be very hard for you to move around. You piss the wrong person off in this industry, it will be very hard for you to get anything. You close the door on a lot of different things. You alienate yourself from a lot of different things. You don't get the same privileges that you would get if you piss the wrong person off. That doesn't mean you have to kiss their ass. This doesn't mean you have to go along with whatever they say or do whatever they say or like that. But you disrespect the wrong person, you piss the wrong person off, anything can go. So like I said, Jay-Z don't hate none of these people. This is a power move. It's really more about the NFL than it is the power move. But any chance to dig into Jay Prince, because with all those other situations, there was nothing that Jay Prince could do. Especially those situations that are directly tied to him, like the Meg Thee Stallion and the Tory Lanez thing. Tory didn't have nothing to do with Jay Prince, but it's still tied to Jay-Z coming in and taking Meg Thee Stallion from Jay Prince and Carl Crawford, because that was their money bag. That was their, that was their meal ticket. They was riding all the way to the top, had the hottest person in the game. I'm going to take everything away from you since you felt like you wanted to humiliate me. Okay, I got you. That's how it goes. Do I agree with it? No. It's not right, but that's how people are. And the more powerful you become, the more you can do. And nobody can stop you. That's why I don't care about these people getting emotional and then their feelings about who's you niggas shouldn't even be watching the Super Bowl. What happened to Black Lives Matter? Let me get out of here. This is the dark side of songwriting.